When we first encounter a new piece of information, it feels complete all on its own. We read a date in a textbook, memorize a formula, or learn a vocabulary word, and we carefully tuck it away in our minds. We often equate this collection of facts with actual learning. But gathering data is much like hoarding seeds in a jar. You possess them, but they remain static. A memorized fact is exactly like a dormant seed. It is safe, easy to carry around, and entirely lifeless. Real learning only begins when you take that information and bury it in the soil of your own mind, allowing it to lose its rigid, isolated shape. To cultivate that raw information, educators use a framework called Bloom's Taxonomy. This diagram shows a 6-tiered hierarchy, representing the cognitive stages a fact travels through to become a deeply rooted concept. At the bottom lies the first tier, remembering. This is the act of taking data and planting it securely into your memory. While basic, this stage is necessary. You cannot think deeply about a subject you cannot recall. Remembering is the mandatory first step required to trigger higher-order thinking. Moving up one level brings us to understanding. This is the moment a rigid fact cracks open and makes sense of its surrounding context. At this stage, you begin translating raw data into your own internal logic. You stop reciting definitions and start explaining the idea in your own words. But early comprehension is fragile. To keep a new concept alive, the learner must reach the third tier, apply. Application involves taking the idea out of the classroom and using it to solve a problem or interact with the real world. Knowledge survives when it is put to work. Without this active step, understanding remains purely theoretical. Concepts that aren't applied often wither and are eventually forgotten. As the idea matures, we reach the analyze stage. This requires shifting our focus to the hidden, underlying structure of the concept. Analysis involves breaking an idea down into its constituent parts. You investigate how these elements connect, function together, and relate to other things you already know. Once the structure is clear, it must be tested. This brings us to the fifth tier, evaluate. Here, the learner actively judges and defends their understanding. They identify flaws, weigh evidence, and prune away logic that cannot withstand critical scrutiny. This rigorous testing prepares an idea to evolve from a personal belief into an objective contribution that can be shared with others. All of this invisible work culminates at the apex of the taxonomy, the create stage. The accumulated knowledge achieves critical mass and surges upward. Creation occurs when a learner takes those deeply understood components and assembles them into an entirely new pattern or product. The internalized concept finally breaks out into the open, influencing the world through a new essay, unique design, or novel solution to a problem. This level of creation is only possible because of the stable, hidden foundation built through the previous 5 layers of the taxonomy. The human mind functions as an organic ecosystem, requiring deliberate structure and time to transform raw information into something living. By patiently nurturing a single fact through these stages, we transform basic information into lasting innovation. Moving through each layer of the taxonomy provides a quiet, steady sense of fulfillment. It replaces the effort of memorization with the clarity needed to navigate complex ideas. Bloom's taxonomy outlines the mechanics of that progress. It proves that learning is a continuous journey that expands the capabilities of the learner with every new seed planted.